Smith Show starts right now.
What's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio and Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Let's get into a lot of things. That would be nice to get into that I think it's necessary to get into today. Number one, Kawhi Leonard. Where is Kawhi Leonard going to end up? Here is the answer. Are you ready? Are you waiting for me to tell you where Kawhi Leonard is going to end up? Here's the answer. I don't have the slightest damn idea. I don't know. I don't know whether he's staying in Toronto. I don't know whether he's going to the Clippers. I don't know whether he's going to the Lakers. And anybody who tells you that they know definitively is a damn liar. Maybe his woman, maybe his mama, maybe his uncle, maybe somebody like that. But I'm trying to tell you, search high and low, left, right, up, down, don't matter. Nobody knows where the hell Kawhi Leonard is going. Nobody. I can tell you where I don't think he is going. I damn sure don't think he's going to the New York Knicks. And by the way, to New Yorkers everywhere, to the Steve Mills, Scott Perrys, David Fizdales of the world, and others, even James Dolan, now that a couple of days have subsided, and my misery has sunk in, and my heart has ached for the last 48 hours, I must tell you, I'm going to keep my head up. I'm going to look ahead. I'm going to acknowledge the fact that the New York Knicks are still a better team than they were Sunday. They're moving in a forward direction. The level of prudency that they've exercised is not something that should be condemned, but that I still stand by what I stated. Two marquee superstars in the game of basketball, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, chose Brooklyn over Broadway. We don't know of anybody in the history of any profession in the United States of America that has chosen Brooklyn over Broadway until now. They chose Brooklyn over Broadway. And we can elaborate and pontificate about the reasons as to why that may have been the case. But the reality is very, very, very simple. Brooklyn was chosen over Broadway. And as a result, the eye of New York basketball will be aimed squarely in the direction of the Barclays Center off Atlantic Avenue, at least for this upcoming season and in all likelihood for years to come. That is the reality. That is the inescapable fact. And as a result, we look at the New York Knicks and we're going to lament what they don't have. Nobody's saying they're not moving in the forward direction. What we're saying is that Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, is devoid of a star during basketball season. The stars are going to be playing somewhere else. That's point number one. We'll get to that a little bit later. Point number two, back to Kawhi Leonard. It seems as if the Lakers may have the upper hand, but we're hearing that's not the case. Nobody knows. I can tell you this, and I've said this 2 days ago. I'll say it again. I don't know whether it's true or not. I have no idea. I don't know Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't really talk. Never rude. Always a gentleman. But I got to tell you, that if you talk to the Los Angeles Clippers, they don't believe for 1 second that Kawhi Leonard will be lost to them in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. They believe Kawhi Leonard is coming to them or he's staying in Toronto. And somehow, some way, you got to ask yourself, as basketball fans, as basketball lovers, you got to ask yourself this question. It's very, very important. You got to ask yourself this question. If you are a true basketball fan, do you want Kawhi Leonard in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis for the next 3 years? Or do you want Kawhi Leonard playing for the Clippers and competing with LeBron and Anthony Davis for the next several years in LA? See, if from a ratings perspective, it's not great for basketball during the regular season because you got stars on the West Coast in the Western Conference. And obviously your ratings are going to be compromised because if you don't have those preeminent stars in the East, those 7:30 games in the East on the East Coast are not going to generate the level of interest that you would like. And those Laker games are going to be starting at 10 or 10:30. And most people are going to be to bed by halftime, if not earlier. And some of those games are going to get missed. That's why it's such a big deal to some degree that Kyrie chose Brooklyn. And Kevin Durant chose Brooklyn. But for me, it's not even about that. For me, it's about Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. He's one of the top 5 players in basketball. And to have 3 of the top 5 players on one team, to me, it's unfair. Which brings me to Kevin Durant. Because the one thing, look, I got to put some stuff out there, and I got to clarify stuff once and for all. I truly do. I got to do this. And John, who's my guest today? Chris Haynes for Yahoo Sports coming on at 2 o'clock. At some point in time, John, when I have time, I got to get my man Bill Simmons on the line. You know, contrary to what some of you idiots out there believe, I happen to love Bill Simmons. That's my buddy. Great guy as far as I'm concerned. Knows his business. Successful best-selling author. Can't say enough about the other things that he's done in his career, including 30 for 30. And damn it, he knows his basketball. The only thing I don't like about Bill Simmons is that he's a Boston Celtics fan. Other than that, the brother's cool with me and he's welcomed on my show any day of the week. And I will have him on in a little while. But I got some stuff to get off my chest because it's important. You see, when we talk about, I'm getting tired of the narrative. And by the way, Bill Simmons has his own relationship with Kevin Durant, who he has spoken to on many occasions. So it's apropos that I bring this up. Kevin Durant is in the news again. And some would say it's because of me. I would say it's just because of the wrong reasons, but it may not necessarily be his fault. Let me explain. People have this misnomer about Kevin Durant because years ago, I called his move the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar. That doesn't mean I think he's a weak man, a weak person, or anything like that. I'm saying that I'm a basketball lover and I love seeing greats go up against greatness and finding out who truly is the best as opposed to people joining hands. And when Kevin Durant went to Golden State 3 years ago, a 73-9 team that they were when they lost in the finals to Cleveland, I thought it was unfair. And as far as I'm concerned, my point was proven because Kevin Durant was so great and so was Steph Curry and the rest of the crew, nobody had a chance. I mean, my God, even Bill Simmons would have to concede LeBron James beat the Boston Celtics in the conference finals. And before he played Kevin Durant and Golden State in that first NBA finals, go back, John, if you can, find the Doris Burks interview with LeBron James immediately after they beat the Boston Celtics in the conference finals. Okay? And what happened? You know what happened? LeBron James gave a concession speech. Listen to the speech. All right, are you looking forward to going up against the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry? I don't even want to think about that right now. I'm just trying to enjoy this moment, and I don't even want to think about that right now. Because he knew he didn't have a snowball's chance in hell with that crew they had in Golden State. That depressed me. You got no shot. Got no chance of beating them boys. And sure enough, that was the case. And when I think about the possibility of Kawhi ending up in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform, although I love LA, and I definitely love the Staples Center, and when the Lakers are special, basketball is just special. I still want to see some competition. And the reason why I stopped bringing up the fact that I called it a weak move, because I hated the fact that people tried to interpret that as me saying Kevin Durant was weak or Kevin Durant couldn't ball. No, I was saying it's a testament to his greatness. He's so great, it makes the competition unfair. That's my issue. And I think if Kawhi joined LeBron and AD, it would be the same. And so now we get into KD joining Kyrie in Brooklyn, as opposed to, say, potentially a Kawhi and KD hooking up. And it led me down a path to where there's various things that I needed to touch on. I was reminded, I had been told this months ago, I was reminded that allegedly what happened is that before KD flew to the Hamptons and met with the Hampton Four, Iguodala, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, he had met with Russell Westbrook. I believe it was Nick Collison and Royal Ivey as well. And basically indicated he was coming back. Flew to the Hamptons, changed his mind, then text Russ instead of calling Russ. KD, in fairness to him, because I haven't spoken to him about this until after I said what I said, he's emphatically denied it, called the report BS. Let's make sure I'm clear. KD denies it, said it was BS. He didn't get into any specifics, but he didn't agree with what I reported. Fine. Then somebody's lying on him. Actually, several people are lying on him. But that's neither here nor there. Now, some would ask, why would I bring that up years later? Because KD certainly asked that question. And here is my response. Because now that KD has gone to Brooklyn, there were actually people out there that were on the verge of trying to lie and circulate a report that he had promised the Golden State Warriors that he was going to stay and then decided to go to Brooklyn. He did no such thing. I don't need KD to deny that one. I can deny that for him because the numerous people that I spoke to emphatically stated within the Warriors organization, never once did he promise them he was staying and then left. He never did that. He never did that. But what it did was prompt two different stories that provokes conversation about KD. Why did he go to Brooklyn? Is he not concerned that he's looking like he's following Kyrie? And not only that, what was really the problem in Golden State? Just like people were asking what was really the problem in OKC. Because at this particular moment in time, understand, and I hope KD is listening to this, everybody want to know about you now. Because you're universally recognized as the greatest in basketball, one of the greatest players in the world. KD right now, to anybody that has sense, is a top 3 player on the planet Earth. He's laid up in bed somewhere probably, recovering from his Achilles tear. And I'm telling you right now, on one leg, KD is better than half the league. And God help you if he just gets back to 75, 80%. KD, Kevin Durant at 75 to 80% will average 23 a game minimum. He's that good. He's that gifted. And I'm going to show you my softer side. Because some of you out there don't believe that Stephen A got a softer side. Y'all just think it's about me with the kids because you know Stevie A love the kids. He sure does. And you assume because of that, I don't have a soft side when it comes to adults. I actually do. And Katie's one of those people. See, I'm blessed to be in this position today. I don't have to talk to anybody to talk about them. It's just the truth. But I go out of my way to make sure people have access to me. And I do everything that I can to have access to them because I don't like talking about people that I talk to, which is why when KD reached out to me this morning to call my report BS, I feel obligated to tell you that's what he said. He's denying it. He didn't deny it specifically because I asked him, meeting, did you say it? And the only thing that he said is, I never sat up there and told Russell Westbrook to his face that I was coming and then didn't come. But I asked a whole bunch of other questions. Did you tell him you come back and didn't come back? Relationship with Steve Kerr. I heard that wasn't that great. Steph Curry. Relationship could have been better. Golden State. And you feeling like you being taken for granted. He didn't get into any specifics. He ain't got time for that. But he did feel the need to comment about the Russell Westbrook stuff. Why? Because I wanted to make sure that I'm clear about something here. I don't know how the rest of y'all feel. And I really don't have any reason to feel bad because I was to Russell Westbrook's defense from day one because I thought it left him hanging to some degree. Meaning holding the bag like he was the reason Kevin Durant left, when in fact OKC and Sam Presti and those boys had more to do with that. But when you think about Russell Westbrook, how acerbic, how truculent, how cantankerous he can be from time to time, with the media, with fans, with anybody. And you wonder where this comes from. Ladies and gentlemen, is it possible that at this particular moment in time, all of us owe Russell Westbrook an apology? Is it possible? Kevin Durant leaves, and what do? He's the reason. Russell Westbrook's the reason he left. I kind of feel bad about what Russell Westbrook has been exposed to. Now, I say all of that to say, being fair to Russell Westbrook doesn't mean your character assassinating Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant may very well have changed his mind. Very well, the only thing Kevin Durant may have done wrong in this entire equation, dating back years to when he departed from OKC, maybe the only thing he may have done wrong is changing his mind and choosing to use text as opposed to calling or going back to see the brother face to face to tell him man to man after you have been his teammate for 8 years. Maybe that's the only thing he has done wrong. Now, in Kevin Durant's world or somebody else's, you might consider that character assassination. I don't. I consider that an honest mistake or an honest lapse in judgment. That's being highlighted, but it's nothing to sit up there and engage in condemnation about. And it's just that simple. So if you KD or anybody close to KD and you're sitting there saying Stephen A is character assassinating, shut the hell up and listen. I'm going to say it again. I love Kevin Durant just the way he is. I like the fact that some people assume he's got rabbit ears. I like the fact that some people believe that he's a bit too sensitive to the things that people say. Do you know why? Because I have never seen Kevin Durant have an attitude, go the hell off, speak out, and then fail to drop 40. That's why. He's a basketball player. He ain't a damn politician. He's not a media pundit. His ability to articulate and elocute his thoughts and his feelings aren't of the professional variety where you need to hold him accountable for every noun, pronoun, and verb and adverb you can find. He's a basketball player. And this dude, when he has attitude, will wreck your world on the basketball court. I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am. You damn right we do. He's that great. He's that great. And oh, by the way, not a bad guy at all. He might have disagreements with you or whatever, speaks his mind. Hell, he might even cuss you out. He's cussed me out a couple of times. Give him a pound, I got you. And damn it, guess what? Sometimes he's been right. Because I have news. This is breaking news. This is very, very important. This is breaking news I'm about to break down to y'all. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Did you know? I am not always right. There are times, dare I say, that I may have been wrong. And Kevin Durant is one of those people that does not hesitate to check you if he believes you're wrong. And you know me, if I don't believe I'm wrong, I ain't bent it. I'm holding my ground. But it's respect. But there's more that comes to this. You see, you got Kevin and you got LeBron and you got all of these dudes, and they'll talk to you about truth, and they'll talk to you about making sure that you got your story right, or whatever the case may be. But they want to speak when they believe people have got something wrong. But when they have an opportunity beforehand to make sure that the record is straight, you got an APB out for them. Can't find them. Because somewhere along the way, somebody told them inaccessibility ultimately dictates headlines. Somebody done told them wrong. Kevin Durant is now going to Brooklyn. The belief by some is that he's following Kyrie instead of it being the other way around. They're scratching their head as to why that is, because Kyrie is phenomenal as he is. Ain't KD. So why wasn't it the other way around? My personal opinion, and it's just an opinion, I don't know this is true or not. I believe KD's injury ultimately is what led to him looking, and I'm not accusing him of following. He might have been going to Brooklyn all along, but I think it's contributed to him looking like he's following. And here's why. Because by getting hurt and having to take practically a year at least to recover, KD finds himself in a situation whereby Kyrie going to Brooklyn, which is still in New York, which has Rock Nation and has the Yormack twins between Live Nation and the Nets, and has Marks and Atkinson and those boys, and you are already a playoff team. By being injured, but having Kyrie there, you buy yourself a year where Kyrie can go there, put on a show, and set the stage for your return. But if you had gone to New York, everybody would be clamoring for, when's KD ready? When's KD ready? When is he coming back? How soon is he going to come back? Doesn't he need to come back? It shouldn't take this damn long to get back on the court. Blah, 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 blah. And there would have been exponentially more pressure for him to get back to the court sooner, which would have been counterproductive to his own rebirth, his own rehabilitation. Not to mention the fact that Kyrie, who is unquestionably his own man, wanted to go to Brooklyn and might have been willing to go to Brooklyn without him. This is what I think has transpired and unfolded. This is why I think the questions exist about KD. And right, wrong, fair, or unfair, this is what you're going to have to deal with. You know why, KD? Because you're KD. You're that great. And when you're that great, this is the attention. A little bit of consolation, a little solace. I'm in the media, but I'm pretty damn great at what I do. So guess what? I'm going to be in the eye of the storm, and folks are going to attack me too. My suggestion to you, grab a bag of cheese doodles. You know, go barbecue in the backyard or something. Chill out. And remember this. Cat Williams said it best. If you got 15 folks hating on you, you should be mad at 816. Celebrate it. Don't sweat it. Comes with the territory. With true greatness. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Only at Walmart. We'll get back to the phone with your calls and everything else. Talking about KD, talking about Kyrie, talking about how things unfolded in Brooklyn and New York, and ultimately what happened in OKC years ago. What's happening with the Warriors? Why KD ain't there? Where do the Warriors go from here? The list goes on and on. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, everybody loves summer, except for sleeping in swampy, heat-trapping sheets with no way to get cool, stay dry, and no rest. That's why you need Sheets. Sheets' patented sleep tech fabrics breathe 10 times better than traditional cotton sheets to keep you cool. They wick away moisture 3 times more than traditional cotton sheets to keep you dry, ensuring a more comfortable night's sleep. So visit trySheets.com/Stephen A and use code Stephen A to get 25% off your purchase, plus free shipping, a bonus pair of pillowcases, and a 30-night risk-free guarantee. That's TrySheets, SHEEX.com/Stephen A. Code Stephen A. It's with a PH, not a V. I'm going to tell you that Rob Pelinka is not stupid. Rob Pelinka is knowledgeable about the game of basketball. Rob Pelinka is competent. Rob Pelinka was damn well better than competent as an agent. And I'm going to tell you that Jeannie Buss, one of the nicest human beings you could ever meet in your life. Who loves her Lakers. Pulled the trigger on a few things and was a bit more assertive over the last few weeks. And as a result, now you find yourself in a situation where we no longer are left at the Lakers or crying, depending on who you are, because damn it, I'm miserable when the Lakers are miserable. I'm here to tell you something right now. I'm going to call it like I see it. And when they deserve criticism, I'm going to give it to them. But make no mistake about it, I don't root against the Lakers. Because to root against the Lakers is to root against Southern California. It's to root against the Staples Center. And that I am absolutely, positively allergic to doing. I love the Staples Center, especially when the Lakers are playing there. I love Southern California, especially when the NBA season is ongoing. Make no mistake about it. And me personally, I'm one of those guys who believes firmly that Steve Ballmer should get his own arena and should move outside of the Staples Center and get his own home. I mean, if you go to a game for the Lakers and then you go to a game for the Clippers, it's like a high school environment compared to a pro environment because the lights are just different. The lighting inside the Staples Center, it just reeks of star-studded allure. The town, which is the Brooklyn Nets, have now taken over New York.
You're searching for parity in the NBA, you have to go back to never! There's never been parity in the NBA.
You got to have somebody that is straight down. There is no medium. There's love or hate. And the Lakers, with 3 superstars, immediately become love or hate at the highest level.
We also need a league that feels like it has some competitive balance. You can't watch a season of basketball when you already know who's going to win it all.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
The team beat England 2-1 in yesterday's Women's World Cup semifinals. This Women's World Cup update is brought to you by California Almonds. Own your own or own your every day. Every day. With the 6 grams of naturally energizing protein in almonds. To the phones we go at 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776.
I think one of the greatest players of all time. I think he made a good choice going to Brooklyn Nets. I make a good legacy for himself. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to do great and well. God bless.
What's your definition of great?
Great?
What is your definition? When you say he's going to do great, what is your definition of great?
I think he's going to bring a ring. Probably take Brooklyn to the not to the championship, but he's going to go to the playoffs.
Oh, time. Did you just call up on this show? On this show. And I concede the greatness part because that's easy. You just finished telling me that Kevin Durant is going to do great in New York, in Brooklyn. And I said, what's your definition of great? And you said he's going to take them to the playoffs? That's all you got?
I think he's going to go further than that.
Well, what's further than that? Be specific.
Championship.
Are they going to the finals? Are they going to win the championship with KD?
They can.
I didn't ask you they could. I could do it. I could grow an afro. Do I have one? No. I'm asking you, do you think he's going to win the championship with the Brooklyn Nets?
To be truthfully honest, no.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. That's what we call. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to go up in the show. You got to be more forceful. You got to have more to say. I mean, that was just a weak call. I need more than that. I need more than that on the Stephen A. Smith Show. We can't just have these kind of calls. Max, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. I think you're being a little facetious about you being able to grow an afro. I don't know about that.
Well, I was thinking with the assistance of Hair Club for Men or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna do it on my own. I ain't gonna pull it off on my own. I can tell you that much. But I might have an afro in a couple of months. Stay tuned. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I love the show. I found you might have made a mistake last week when you said that you couldn't remember a player that essentially turned down $80 million like Kawhi might have to go to L.A.
I said 2 moves. Making 2 moves to turn down $80 million, yes. Going from San Antonio to Toronto, and then Toronto, if he leaves Toronto to come to L.A., he would have cost himself $80 million. I don't recall somebody who passed up that amount of money. Do you?
I do, sir.
Who?
Dirk Nowitzki. He did not sign 2 max contracts, and he could have made about $200 million more dollars.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. I don't know if that's the number, but I'll tell you that that's fair. I guess here's what I was looking at. He loves Dallas, wanted to stay as a part of the organization, never wanted to go anywhere, and by taking less, he tried to help them facilitate building a better team so they could win. I think that's the ultimate indictment, actually, against the Dallas Mavericks. Meaning Mark Cuban and those guys. Here's the reason why. With Dirk consistently taking less and sacrificing the bottom line in order to help the team build a squad, what have they done since they won the title?
Not enough for the amount.
Exactly. That's my point.
Stay with the Mavs for a minute. We just signed Boban today.
Okay. I like Boban.
Are the Mavs going to join the EU later?
I don't know. It's quite possible between Luka Doncic, between Kristaps Porzingis, and now Boban. I do. I mean, damn. Yeah, that is a good point. It is a good point. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you, Eric. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., it's a pleasure to talk to you this morning. I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about earlier about Kawhi joining the Lakers and how you like to see him join the Clippers maybe and see the guys play against each other.
Okay.
Well, I just want to go back to remind you about a time when the Lakers put together another star-studded team, even though a couple of the stars were a little older, Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, and
really? That's where you're going? That's where you're going, really?
No,
why would that be an analogy? Why?
Well, because don't forget that they did go to the championship, but they lost to a team.
Your fault. So, listen, I see what you're saying. You talk about when they lost to Detroit.
Exactly.
Listen, what I'm telling you is this. Karl Malone wasn't Karl Malone anymore, and Gary Payton certainly wasn't Gary Payton anymore.
They were a little older. I know they were a little older.
They weren't in the primes of their career. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. I got you.
You know better than that. You couldn't compare that. How the hell you going to even bring that up as a comparison with LeBron and AD 26 and Kawhi being 27?
I'm not comparing. I'm not really trying to compare. I'm just trying to say that's why they play the game. Even though you might have a super team, don't necessarily mean that you're going to win. That's why they play the game.
That's what. So in other words, you held on online to get on the phone on the national airwaves to tell me that's why you play the games. That's the best you could do.
Just to remind you, because I know you know that.
That's the best you could do. To remind me, you called up to be on hold to remind me that they still got to play the games. Wow.
That's the best I got today.
Happy 4th of July. That's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me. You can do better than that. Have a good day, though. Enjoy the 4th of July. Don't eat too many hot dogs and burgers, but eat some. James, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
My question is, I keep hearing you talk about how Durant went to Golden State and how it was a weak move.
It was.
But
he knows I feel that way.
But why wasn't LeBron going to the Miami Heat with D
Yes,
Wade
it was.
and Chris Bosh?
Yes, it was.
Yes, a weaker move?
Yeah, no, it wasn't weaker. It was weak, but it wasn't weaker. Here's why. The Miami Heat were 47-35 the year before and bounced out in the first round. They weren't 73-9 and an all-time regular season winningest team who were reigning defending NBA champions before going that 73-9 season. D Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James had never played together, nor had Eric Spoelstra ever coached anybody other than D Wade. And Pat Riley still had a team to build. Kevin Durant went to a ready-made franchise who all they did was add him. They kept Draymond. They kept Clay. They kept Steph. They kept Iguodala. They kept Sean Livingston. So the point is they were ready-made in a multitude of ways. And they were a well-oiled machine. A matter of fact, if Steph Curry his health hadn't been compromised in that final series before Kevin Durant arrived, Golden State would have won the title. They'd have beat Cleveland. If Draymond Green, if the NBA hadn't given LeBron James that stimulus package by suspending Draymond Green for Game 5 with that bogus flagrant foul call after LeBron threw him to the court in Game 4, and supposedly he kicked up his leg, if that hadn't happened, Golden State would have closed them out in 5. So I'm saying to you, that's the team that Kevin Durant joined. That is not the Miami Heat team that LeBron joined. That's the difference.
Is LeBron joined the team for a ring. Like, he wanted the ring.
That's not the point. That's not the point. I just broke it down to you. What was the difference between the two? I didn't say it was the greatest move in the world. I broke down to you the difference between the two. I gave you facts that are undisputed. Period.
I love you. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm in Charlotte, but I'm a Knicks fan. I've been watching you for years. But I'm just saying, like, if dudes is joining the team, like LeBron is like the way he did it was like he joined the team for the ring, and he made it almost like popular for stars to join up with other stars just to get a ring. Wait a
minute. I get what you're saying. What you're saying is you're not comparing the moves. You're saying LeBron James should be held more accountable for instigating the trend.
All right.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I can flow with that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Appreciate that, James. All right, I'll give you that. He's definitely the instigator in all of that. That's fair. I can live with that. Back to your calls in a minute with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, if you missed any of my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. Brought to you by Eno, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong with your credit card, sends an alert to your phone, and helps you fix them. Hey, what's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here. This group will not make the playoffs next year.
We say
Talk to us about Kawhi Leonard and his Southern California roots and how palpable that is in all of this for a second.
So Kawhi Leonard is from Southern California, but it's not like he's from Santa Monica, okay? He is from the Inland Empire, went to school out in Riverside. So that's about an hour and a half east of downtown Los Angeles. And it's a little like Paul George. Paul George was from Palmdale, which is like an hour and a half north and east. So these are suburbs of Los Angeles. And he doesn't live in Los Angeles. Anthony Davis lives out here in Westlake Village. That's like where Charlie Sheen lives. That's a little bit north of where the Kardashians live. Kawhi Leonard, he lives in North County, San Diego, which is not that far actually from it's not that far from where he grew up. You know, if you're going from Riverside down to San Diego, that's not that long of a drive. But it's not L.A., and I think that's the most important part. It's not L.A. He would have grown up watching Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, and my understanding is he's a pretty big Kobe Bryant fan. That was like his guy growing up. But that's kind of his MO. It's not necessarily. It's not like he grew up, you know, like Baron Davis here in the heart of the city or Russell Westbrook. So I think the LA of it all is more about his family. And, you know, everyone I knew from Kawhi's side, you know, going into this, like if you're around him, he has a big family. He's close with a lot of people. That was the whole impetus for wanting to be in Los Angeles. He's a family guy. He wants to be around everybody. But again, a couple of things happened at the end of the season that I think threw a lot of people off and a lot of plans off, which is namely they won. Kawhi Leonard won. And, you know, we don't know how that's going to affect him. What does he have to prove? I mean, the profile of Kawhi was he wanted his own team. He wants to compete against the best. He's more of that Giannis Antetokounmpo type, the Kobe Bryant profile, which is like you don't join the Super Friends team. You go against them and you dethrone dynasties. But he's now done that twice.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Coming to you live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, being brought to you by Chase. Plus, Golick and Wingo will be live Monday, July 8th from Cleveland, Ohio for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Brought to you by Marathon. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. Real quick, Troy, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Stephen A? How you doing?
I'm all right. I only got a minute. Hurry up. Go ahead.
All right, man. Look, this is what I want to say. To all y'all people out there saying that Kawhi Leonard is weak for going to L.A., including you, hey, he can go where the hell he wants to go.
Stop right there. Don't call up my show with that nonsense. Nobody's saying he can't go where he wants to go. Nobody's saying he doesn't have a right to. Stop being a wuss. Where do you want him to go? That's all we're talking about here. Where do you want to see Kawhi playing next?
L.A. I'm a diehard Lakers fan.
Okay. So the Lakers. So you want him with the Lakers. Then say you want him with the Lakers. Everybody knows he can do what he wants to do. Nobody can stop him if he wants to go to the Lakers. We all know that. Why waste energy saying that?
For him to go out there.
What?
You saying that he's weak for going out there.
I'm saying he would be weak to join LeBron and AD, but that I didn't say he can't do it. Of course he can. I think it would be a weak move to join a monster squad as opposed to competing against them. That's my personal opinion, and it's consistent because I said that about KD when he went to Golden State. Hour number 2, Chris Haynes up next.
The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Welcome. Stephen A. Smith Show being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Benzoyl Synthetics today. Plus, the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and your car insurance. We'll get back to my callers a little bit later. We'll get to Bill Simmons, hopefully, before the end of the second hour of the Stephen A. Smith Show radio on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. If you don't know this man, let me tell you something about him. He's a damn good reporter. He knows his basketball. He does an exceptional job for Yahoo Sports. He is somebody I personally miss being a part of this network because he was here before he went to Yahoo, and I miss him a lot. He's actually improved his wardrobe immensely. And on top of it all, he's not wearing sneakers, Converse canvas sneakers with his suits anymore. I mean, he has really stepped up his game. I'm talking about the one and only Chris Haynes for Yahoo Sports. We're here live right here with yours truly on the Stephen A. Smith Show. What's going on, big bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right, Stephen A. That was one hell of an intro, man. Well, I appreciate it.
I just want to make sure I'm looking out for you, man. I mean, are you working today? Do you have on a suit with sneakers, or are you completely casual? I got to check with you. I got to check with you first.
Hey, no, I'm casual, man. I'm only dressing up when it's the finals, man, because that's when I know I'm going to see a lot of you on a daily basis.
Well, I will say this. I mean, you have stepped your game up, and as a result, you shouldn't be just waiting for the finals to be dressed. You should be dressed throughout the year, personally. That's what I personally think. That's just what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying?
Hey, I ain't got it like that yet, man. I got to get the bag a little bit more up there.
All right.
To come on a daily basis. I tell you right now, if you don't like it, Stephen A., put a ring on it. Put a ring on it, man.
I told Mike there, Tony, if you don't like it, you should have put a ring on it. You don't like that contract for Tina Rose, you should have put a ring on it. Chris Haynes right here with Yahoo Sports with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's get to it, man. We all know what the number one story is right now, and that would be the Kawhi Leonard watch. What are you hearing, and what do you suspect may happen when all is said and done?
Well, look, let me tell you right now, it looks like we're back to, what was it? Is that 1992? What was that OJ?
Yeah,
Chase?
the OJ Chase? Yeah, early 90s.
It looks like, I don't know if you've seen it, Stephen A., they got the helicopters out there, man. They got people following the cars. I guess he's in Toronto right now, man. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, I haven't seen that. I have no idea where he is. I know he was in Barbados. That I do know. I don't know where he is, but you're telling me there's helicopters hovering around, watching him and all of that stuff. That's what you're telling me?
If you get on social media right now, you will see people are following the plane that he just landed from LA to Toronto. They believe it's him on the plane, and then he got transported into a car. Now he's in a car going somewhere, and people are following the car. It is OJ all over again, except with the absence of crime. Let's put that out there. But this is crazy. But I'll tell you right now, he met with both teams actually, obviously in LA, and we believe that this is going to be his meeting here with Toronto, or maybe something even more than that. And so that's where we stand right now, Stephen A.
Are you of the mindset? It's one thing for him to have Toronto as a last meeting. But should we make anything of the fact that he's in Toronto to have the meeting?
That's interesting right there. I don't want to speculate, but look, I find it rather interesting that if this would be anything more than a meeting. If it's going to be a meeting, then I would think that would take place in L.A. because the Raptors were in L.A. And so for this to be going on and going in Toronto, I haven't, since the last 4 minutes, I haven't checked if it's confirmed that that's Kawhi. But if Kawhi is in Toronto, just from the Raptors viewpoint, I would think that that's a good sign. I really do. I don't think he would go all the way to Toronto just for a meeting.
Or it could be manning up and showing the ultimate respect by flying into Toronto just to tell them face to face without them making the trip that he's saying goodbye. That could be the route that he's taking. We just never know. It was Chris Haynes right here for Yahoo Sports, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Knowing the NBA the way that you do, covering it the way that you do, crystallize for me what life with Kawhi Leonard in a Clippers uniform would be and what life for Kawhi Leonard would be like in a Lakers uniform for me.
Well, if it's the Clippers, obviously you have to look at the direction that they've been going. They've been going upstream, turn the organization around. No longer does it have the negative connotations, the negative image that we're accustomed to tagging alongside the Clippers. So he goes over there. He makes them. I would say they're a contender. I don't think he put them in the upper echelons of the championship contending teams, but they're a contender, and it's a great story. He'll be back home, and that'll be a great situation. You put them with the Lakers, then obviously you're talking about another dynasty brewing. I think in order to, it'll be very difficult if Kawhi Leonard were to go there. It would be very difficult for management to screw that situation up. And when I mean by screw it up, I mean because they still got to add complementary pieces. Mm-hmm. I just have a hard time believing anybody could screw that situation up with AD, LeBron, and Kawhi. So you go over there. It's the expectations. It's the allure of the Laker fandom. It's the legacy. But I will say this, Stephen A. Kawhi has been relatively sheltered ever since he's come into the NBA. Mm-hmm. With the San Antonio Spurs, the way they do things. He doesn't have to speak every day. Toronto, he spoke a little bit more in Toronto, but they still sheltered him. Going to the Lakers of all franchises, and not just the Lakers, with LeBron. And all that comes with that. There's always going to be talking points, discussed drama. He's never experienced anything like that. And maybe LeBron would shield him away from that because obviously a lot of the things that go through LeBron and media will, head in his direction. But that's something he's never experienced before. So I would think from a Kawhi standpoint, what he would feel most comfortable with would probably be the Clippers. But if he's looking for, winning multiple championships, then probably the Lakers would be the route to go.
Here's the knock against the Clippers, believe it or not. As much as I would love to see him with the Clippers, because I'd love seeing him compete against LeBron James, and that's the situation that I would prefer as a genuine basketball lover. The flip side to it is that he would clearly be the face of the Clippers franchise. And being the face of the Clippers franchise in LA, going up against LeBron all the time, it would require him to articulate his thoughts a bit more and be a bit more loquacious and outspoken in terms of speaking on different issues because he's going to be the face of that franchise. Isn't that a potential reality and ultimately a potential turnoff?
It could be, Stephen A. But I still think, look, I still think at the end of the day, it's still the Clippers. And right now, if you got LeBron, you got AD, and if they're able to assemble just a dynamic team from top to bottom, I think they're going to take a lot of limelight. I think most of the LA media contingency they have to try to shuffle their assignments, and I think you're going to see more contingent, obviously, following the Lakers. Even though Kawhi will be over to the Clippers, I just think, man, LeBron is just so overwhelming with what he commands and demands. I still think if he goes to the Clippers, he will still be on the back burner, and I think that probably suit him more so than anything.
Chris Haynes right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's transition to the other big story in the NBA that we've been talking about over the last few days, a story that's near and dear to you because I don't know too many people that know Kevin Durant better than you. I don't know too many people other than you and my man Mark Spears, that know the Golden State Warriors any better. Your thoughts about Kevin Durant ultimately deciding to leave the Golden State Warriors and go to Brooklyn instead of the New York Knicks. Talk to me about all of that.
Yeah, I was surprised all year. We were hearing all season long, Knicks. And I think ultimately what happened is Kyrie kind of reversed course. And for whatever reasons, he decided to go with the Nets. I just think ultimately Kevin Durant didn't want to go at it alone in New York. And so, they're great friends. I covered Kyrie when I was a beat writer in Cleveland. Obviously, I covered Durant when I was a beat writer for ESPN. And those two are extremely alike. Stephen A., you would know that. Yeah. They're extremely similar, and you see why they would you see why they would get along. And I just think ultimately that was the deciding factor. Kevin Durant was on my podcast early in the season, and he talked about he couldn't be recruited. He wasn't going to be recruited. He didn't want people thinking that he could be influenced, it could be swayed by new arenas and fancy pitches. And at the end of the day, he wasn't recruited. I mean, the only person who was able to recruit him was Kyrie. He didn't go through all the pitches and all that. So he made up his mind, and I was ultimately surprised it was Brooklyn. But, I think most of us believe, and, you were hitting it off. You were hitting it all season that we knew it was probably the likelihood that he was going to be gone was pretty high.
It's interesting because, listen, I have my own thoughts and I've heard my own things, but, I don't view Kevin Durant negatively the way some people do. Like when you talk, people bring up a burner account that he once had, or people bring up the fact that he's got rabbit ears or all that. I'm like, every time you throw something like that in his face, he drops 40. I give a damn. This dude shows up. You understand? And the more you irritate him, the more he makes you pay. So guess what? If he speaks on issue, he's a basketball icon. As far as I'm concerned, he has every right to speak on the sport of basketball the way he so chooses. But you are going to have people, you know this, Chris, better than and just as well as I do. You're going to have people that look at him as being the guy who followed Kyrie to Brooklyn as opposed to making his own way, his own path. How do you feel about that? And do you think that's fair to him?
Well, let me touch on two things you just mentioned,
sure.
Stephen A. One thing about KD is that, when, I don't mean to keep pumping my podcast, but when he came on, he talked about how it's fatiguing and tiring to try to live up or portray an image that he isn't. He said, I got a burner account. Like sometimes I want to talk trash back on Twitter. He said, but people get on me and they feel like they portray me as not being one of the greats because I act like that, because Michael Jordan didn't act like that, because Kobe Bryant didn't act like that, or LeBron. He said, I just want to be me. I'm a human being. And he said, at the end of the day, if I'm still going on the court and dominating, why should any of that, why should my greatness be diminished?
I completely agree with him. I completely agree with him on that. He's absolutely right.
And as it pertains to Kyrie, first, look, I think we both believe that when Kevin Durant is healthy, he's the second best player in the league, top two player. Arguably, people want to say he's over LeBron. So I don't look at it as Kyrie picked first, and so it's Kyrie's team. No, I think if KD is healthy, he comes back to form after this injury, it's going to be his team. And so I don't think we should be going back and forth on who team is going to be.
Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports, his Twitter handle. Chris B. Haynes. All right. This is the man that's on the air with me right now. The Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Go back to the Golden State Warriors. One of the things that I heard, his relationship with Steve Kerr was not the greatest. It's not that it was awful or anything like that, but it should have been better. It never was. We don't know why. And to a far, far lesser degree, meaning not nearly as bad as Steve Kerr, even though Steph Curry was the one that flew in from China to see him and thank him for the 3 years. Even though it was Steph Curry that was initially planning to fly in and try to convince him to stay. Even though it was Steph Curry that was walking him to the locker room and patting him on the back when he had tore his Achilles. That the relationship with Steph Curry could have been better. That Kevin Durant knew that Steph Curry was always going to be that guy in Golden State and it would never be him. And those were contributing factors to him wanting to leave Golden State. What do you know? What can you tell us? What do you feel about why he ultimately departed from Golden State?
Well, look, there's a number of reasons. His relationship with Steve Kerr, I don't know how to... I have a difficult time classifying because, yes, there were some things that he got irritated with training Steve Kerr. I wish I could bring up this. It's not coming to my mind, but I remember we were in Indiana, and Steve Kerr said something. They lost in Indiana. Steve Kerr said something to the media post-game. Players didn't like it. Kevin Durant, I know he didn't like it. I know that's for a fact. Mm-hmm. They took issue with that. Right. Steve Kerr ended up apologizing for it a few days later in Utah. And I can't remember right now what it was that Steve Kerr said. Okay. But there are a couple situations like that where it got under the skin of KD. And I would be doing too much right now for me to classify it as a rocky relationship, but I know at times, they butted heads. But with all that being said, look, I'm of the belief, Stephen A., that without Kevin Durant, Warriors don't win those two championships.
I agree. I'm with you.
He was the difference maker. And with all that being said, I equate it to, you're a New Yorker, I equate the situation to when A-Rod went to the Yankees. A-Rod was the best player in the game, but he was never going to be as beloved as Derek Jeter, period. And I think that's the way I would equate the dynamic in Golden State. No matter what he did, no matter he didn't ride their coattails, those titles. He led them, and yet still people were diminishing his greatness. And we know how Kevin Durant is. He listens to media. He listens to that stuff, and I do think it bothered him. And so I think he felt like, okay, I got my titles. Let me try a different route and a different path. And he's still getting blasted for this. I don't know why, but that's just life in his circle.
Yeah, by the way, in that comment you were talking about with Steve Kerr, back then he said the team didn't care. And that was what Kevin Durant and those guys were so offended by. He said the team didn't care. That was what Steve Kerr said at the time. Having said all of that, now that Kevin Durant is gone, and Andre Iguodala is gone, but D'Angelo Russell is there. Kevon Looney and Klay Thompson have been kept. What are your expectations for your Golden State Warriors?
I think it's tough. I'm gonna say this. I think. Even with the move, even if they keep D'Angelo, I still think they're punting their championship aspirations next season. I think you have to. I just don't. I don't view them in the same light. Now, I still think they're going to be competitive. I still think they're going to be a force, but you got to depend on Steph for damn near 75 games now to even put them in contention. And I just don't know that the dynamics fits with D'Angelo and him over there in the backcourt while Klay Thompson is out recovering. And I understand, but it was a good move for Golden State to get D'Angelo because they do get an asset. Now, this is the asset that they can use later down the road. So you rather get something rather than Kevin Durant leave for nothing. But I just don't see them in the same light. And I'm not saying that their dynasty era is over, because they could come back next year with that same core and wreak havoc. But as far as next year is concerned, I don't see. I think they made some nice pieces to still be formidable. But as far as championship aspirations, there's a couple of other teams that I put ahead of them right now.
Chris Haynes for Yahoo Sports. Let me put you on the spot right here. I ask you to pick who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals next year. Who you got? Because you see what Utah has done. You see your boy and mine, Dame, got that Supermax deal, and congrats to him, and Nurkic is coming back. The Lakers are the Lakers. Houston's Houston. Utah has really upgraded. I'm putting you on the spot. Who you got in the Western Conference Finals?
I'm putting Portland as of right now.
Really?
Yeah,
why?
I'm putting Portland as of right now.
Why?
Look, Stephen A., look at this. Dame has never had an aerial threat in his career. Never. So you know what a safety valve that presents. You know how that the guys, if they're open, if they're good shooters.
Hold on, whoa. Let me put you on pause. What aerial threat are you talking about? You ain't talking about no damn Hassan Whiteside, are you?
Man, I am talking about Hassan Whiteside.
Hassan Whiteside? What?
That's what I said.
What? I can't believe you just said that. I can't. Hassan Whiteside? Really? Why? Why should anybody believe in him right now, Chris Haynes?
Because, number one, look, we're not looking for how Whiteside to come in and be a post presence. We're looking at him to when Dame is penetrating, drawing the defense, that Dame just throw that ball up and Whiteside to finish. He's never had that with Nurk. He's never had that with LaMarcus Aldridge. He's never had that with
and Whiteside has never had that with anybody because, listen, this is the same Hassan Whiteside that Pat Riley had to call him into his office. I mean, damn, he quit on the team after he got his money. What are you talking about?
Let me tell you something, Stephen A. Let me tell you something right now. You listen good.
Okay.
He's never played with anybody like Damian Lillard, one of the best leaders that we had in this game.
That's true.
He did play with Dwayne Wade.
That is true.
He did play with Dwayne Wade. But I'm gonna say this right now. I think Damian Lillard has the potential to maximize the talent of Whiteside, and I think that we haven't seen the best.
I don't disagree with that because Dame is one of them real true brothers, man. Dame is special. People don't realize how special he is, and you and I both know him well. So I give you credit for that, but I get on you about this. Chris, do you know the part that you missed that I'll bring up? And I promise you won't disagree with me about this. One could argue that Hassan Whiteside does have fewer distractions being in Portland as opposed to Miami.
Well, you mean fewer?
Fewer.
I think that's an understatement right there.
There we go.
There it is.
He should be considerably more focused, Chris. He should be considerably more focused. There's no doubt about that. Oh, hell yes. Hell yes, he should. Chris B. Hayes right here with Stephen A. Yahoo Sports, Stephen A. right here with Chris Hayes. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I'll let you get on out of here. What do you think about Kemba being in Boston instead of Kyrie?
Look, I think Boston still wants to be in championship contention, and they still feel like they have a window. So for that standpoint, I like it. Is Kemba Walker better than Kyrie? No. Could he potentially be a better fit? Possibly. And maybe that can lead to more wins and get them advancing into the postseason. But I like it. But they lost Al Horford, so they got to make up ground in that regard. They picked up Enes Kanter, so they're making some solid moves. But they want to be in contention. They want to be solid, and I think Kemba does that.
All right. Before I let you get on out of here, man, I like Philadelphia coming out of the East if Kawhi doesn't stay in Toronto. I think Philadelphia with the addition of Al Horford, re-signing Tobias Harris. I don't like the fact that they lost J.J. Redick, but I do like what they have. And I don't think that Jimmy Butler made the right decision. Let me take that back. Listen, the man grew up in Wisconsin and went to Marquette and then Chicago and then Minnesota and then Philadelphia. The brother wants to live in South Beach. There is no crime in that. There is no crime in that. That was not a basketball decision. There is no crime in that whatsoever. Congratulations to Jimmy Butler. But I will say this. I think his chances at a title were considerably better in Philadelphia than anywhere else. And I do believe that Philadelphia gave him the kind of love that he'll never receive anywhere else. To all of that, you say what?
I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I don't like this team, Philadelphia's team, better than I did their roster this past season. But considering the way Jimmy went out, they picked up nice ground. It's fine. They got Tobias Harris. And they'll be a force. I don't like because Jimmy came up big in the postseason, man. Like he was playing some point forward, doing some really nice things for them. So they need to improve from within. Particularly, got to see Ben Simmons. We got to see him start to expand his game in order for him to take that next step. So considering that they lost J.J. Redick and Jimmy, I like their additions. I'm not sold that they're better. But I like their pickup, similar to Boston. I think they have the opportunity to be better than they were. But, I'm going to wait and see. But solid moves all around.
Before I let you get on out of here, man, I'm getting word from a couple of reliable sources, Kawhi going to the Lakers. I don't know how true it is, to be quite honest with you. But they're telling me Lakers. That's what they're saying. We'll see. Man. We'll see.
Love you, my bro.
Same here, my man. Happy, 4th of July. Enjoy that stuff. Don't eat too many burgers and hot dogs, but you can eat some of it. You can eat some of that. All right. Appreciate you, bro. Love you, man. The one and only Chris Haynes. Catch him. Chris B. Haynes on Twitter. Chris Haynes for Yahoo Sports covering the NBA. Does a great job. My buddy, my friend. I really, really miss him being here at ESPN. He's live for Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back to your calls in more in a minute. Plus, my man Bill Simmons is going to call in as well. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, everybody loves summer, except for sleeping in swampy, heat-trapping sheets with no way to get cool, stay dry, and no rest. I'm going to tell you that Rob Pelinka is not stupid. Rob Pelinka is knowledgeable about the game of basketball. Rob Pelinka is competent. Rob Pelinka was damn well better than competent as an agent. And I'm going to tell you that Jeannie Buss, one of the nicest human beings you could ever meet in your life, who loves her Lakers, pulled the trigger on a few things and was a bit more assertive over the last few weeks. And as a result, now you find yourself in a situation where we no longer are laughing at the Lakers or crying, depending on who you are, because damn it, I'm miserable when the Lakers are miserable. I'm here to tell you something right now. I'm going to call it like I see it. And when they deserve criticism, I'm going to give it to them. But make no mistake about it, I don't root against against the Lakers. Because to root against the Lakers is to root against Southern California. It's to root against the Staples Center. And that I am absolutely positively allergic to doing. I love the Staples Center, especially when the Lakers are playing there. I love Southern California, especially when the NBA season is ongoing. Make no mistake about it. And me personally, I'm one of those guys who believes firmly that Steve Ballmer should get his own arena and should move outside of the Staples Center and get his own home. I mean, if you go to a game for the Lakers and then you go to a game for the Clippers, it's like a high school environment compared to the pro environment because the lights are just different. The lighting inside the Staples Center, it just reeks of star-studded allure. And then you look at the Clippers and it's like a high school gymnasium. Same arena, same amount of seats, sold out, people are watching. Better basketball over the last several years, doesn't matter. The Lakers are the Lakers in LA. They are in no danger of suffering from the plight that the New York Knicks presently have at its doorstep. And that is the stepchild of basketball in your town, which is the Brooklyn Nets, have now taken over New York.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Sorry for that long break there. I was in the bathroom. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. Lots of stuff to get into, no doubt about it. We'll continue to get into it right here with the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's go to Manny real quick. You're live, Stephen A. What's up, Manny?
Hey, what's going on, Steven?
Talk to me.
Steven, so I want to let you, a lot of people are talking about this Kevin Durant thing and where he signed and that. I know it kind of.
Manny, are you there?
I'm actually happy. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Man, I'm sorry, Manny. I lost you. Call back in a few minutes. Bill Simmons, as promised, is on the line with us right now. What's up, my brother? How are you? Happy 4th of July.
I'm doing good. Yeah, you too, brother.
I mean, talk to me, man, because I know you got a lot of stuff to say in light of what happened with KD going to Brooklyn, not going to the Knicks. Kawhi still out there. We don't know where he's going, even though we're hearing LA Lakers. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, I was driving around LA today listening to your show in the beginning, and it became clear you're now in deep denial with the Knicks. You did this whole thing. You know, yeah, maybe plan B, it's not that bad. They did some good things. No, this is an abject disaster. Yes. This is the worst case scenario.
It is, Bill. I
like Julius Randle, and then they spent $52 million just for this season on 5 ninth men. Yep. And this is what you traded Porzingis and put the Lee and Hardaway contracts in. This is why you stretched Joakim Noah so you would have cap space this summer so you could go sign a whole bunch of bench players to Julius Randle. There is no way to spin this. You can't feel good about it. I'm not going to let you. I'm just not.
You got me. Bill, you know I'm an honest guy. You got me. You got me. There's nothing I can say, Bill. There's nothing I can say. I mean, I just tried because I'm like this. They're not a worse team than they were, but damn, they were 17-65. How much worse can you be? So I guess I'm just trying to find a silver lining because, Bill, I've been crying for 2-3 days. I'm trying to get over it, Bill.
The cap space was the best asset they had. This is what I don't understand, why they're getting praised. And people are like, well, though, you could trade those contracts in December, January, February. It's like, can you? Can you really trade I don't know, Wayne Ellington for a first-round pick. That the recent
Bobby
history of the league
Portis.
says you can't get. Well, maybe. What is name me your top 3 greatest Bobby Portis basketball moments in the last 4 years? Like, can you think of one?
I can't think of one.
moment?
I can't think of one. I can't think of one.
I can't. I would have rather had the cap space. And, like there's stuff on the internet today. I don't know if it's true or not that Miami is trying to get Wall and Beal, and where you would get Beal, and as the price of Beal, you would take John Wall's contract, and it's like $40 million a year for the next 4 years. It's the worst contract in the league by far. He may never be healthy again.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff you can do when you have cap space. And I look at where the Knicks are right now, and if the Wizards decided Beal's not going to be here in 2 years, we want to get rid of this John Wall contract, and we want to just reboot. Guess what team would have been sitting there with the cap space and the assets and picks and all kinds of things? Be like, all right, cool. We'll take a chance at John Wall.
Yeah.
But can we get Bradley Beal out of it? Great. Here we go. And instead, they just tied up their cap space with all these dudes.
So, Bill Simmons, break this down for me. If you had an opportunity to fix the Knicks, what would you do?
I like the Randall signing. I think he's good.
Okay.
I would have kept the cap space clear. I would have been the way station, because I think what we saw, everybody shot the gun this year because they basically allowed tampering this season for the first time. So on July 1st, 80% of the deals were done.
That's true.
And now you look around, nobody has cap space. So you have these teams like Oklahoma City, who is going to be a repeater tax team unless they can dump, I think, like 13, 14 million.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the next situation, what Miami was just in, where all of a sudden Miami needed cap space. They had a chance to get Jimmy Butler. It materialized quickly. They had to dump contract. Only a couple teams had the cap space. This seems to happen over and over again. I think the one lesson with the Knicks these last 2 years is don't create the cap space before you know for sure you can get the guy. You can create cap space in 24 hours anytime you want. You could, like the Knicks could have dumped Hardaway and Lee this summer.
There's still a floor you got to touch on, though. There's still a floor you got to touch on, though. You got to spend like 85 to 90% of that space. You can't just leave it out there. So that's why that might be why they did it. And there's nobody that they signed to more than 2 years. There's nobody that they signed to more than 2 years.
But if you don't spend it, if you don't get to that, whatever, what is it, like 85%?
85 to 90%.
So all right,
it's 90%.
So Boogie Cousins, last case scenario in December, and you give Boogie Cousins 1 year, $20 million, so you can get to
did you just call up to the Stephen A. Smith radio show and suggest that the New York Knicks should take Boogie Cousins? Did you just do that, Bill Simmons? Did you just do that?
On July 2nd is my point. You don't have to spend $52 million on 1 year contracts on July 2nd. There's still guys. I didn't think there was any vision for it. And I think, we've seen over and over again. We saw it in 2014 with Cleveland. They realized they had a chance to get LeBron. What did they do? They scrambled. They created cap space. They used the pick to get rid of Tyler Zeller, and they were able to create the cap space. For the Knicks to do all the mechanics they did over the last year made me think they thought for sure they were getting somebody, and they were just wrong. Whether it was KD, whoever they thought they were getting, they really thought they were getting
KD and Kyrie. It was KD and
generations of fans, all that stuff. But they were in a very similar situation with Donald Sterling, where once the guy owns a team, that's it. You can't do anything. You can't get rid of the person. It's his team. It's like if you live on a street and the worst person possible buys the house next to you, you can't do anything. That person's there unless something happens. And with Dolan, I think he's so stubborn. You've talked about on your show, like he's really stubborn. And when he gets criticism, it actually makes him more empowered to dig his feet.
That's a good point.
These people don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And it works with hockey. Harvey Aridin talked about this. He wrote a good piece yesterday. In hockey, it doesn't matter. Hockey players, they just love playing hockey. They'll get to the playoffs. They'll play with a broken ankle. They just love hockey, and they're always team first. Basketball has become this business where the players are looking at basketball as one of the many things they want to do. And I think this is how Brooklyn got KD and Kyrie. And you think this too, because I heard you say it before. It wasn't just about the Nets. It was about Rock Nation. It was
Absolutely.
about the Alibaba, the guy who owns 49%
that's right.
of that. All the business opportunities, and that was why those guys went there. It was not a basketball decision.
Bill, let me interrupt you because I got a hard break. I got to get on out of here. Let me ask you this question about your Boston Celtics real quick because we all know that's where your loyalty lies. How do you feel about Kemba Walker being there instead of Kyrie Irving?
Well, from a teammate, leadership, just good guy thing. They just needed to change the culture. The culture, it was the unhappiest Celtics season since Patino was there. And I think Kemba, by all counts, one of the great teammates in the league and somebody who just works his butt off and is going to be, I think, a lot like what Isaiah Thomas was like in Boston a couple of years ago, where people just love him. But they're still a move away now. I think they were a championship contender last year on paper, and they're not anymore. Now they're one move away. They have assets, but they still need one more trade to, I think, be taken seriously.
Very last question. I give you the choice. Kawhi Leonard, Lakers, Clippers, Toronto Raptors. Where do you want him to go?
Well, for us, for me and you, it's most fun if he goes to the Clippers, right? Because then we get another team that's a contender. I think for him, from a basketball standpoint, Lakers, because you get to play with Anthony Davis for the next 5 years. I think from a loyalty / could we win back-to-back? Toronto, definitely short-term. But then long-term, where are you in Toronto? You basically have Siakam and a bunch of guys who are on the other side of the mountain. So I think what makes the most sense is a 1-1 in Toronto and just redo this all next summer. But I think he wants to cash in, especially where he is physically. Yeah. So I still think it's going to be the Lakers. I think it's like the smart basketball move, but I'm going to hate it when he does it.
I'm not going to hate it because it's L.A. You know, I ain't going to complain. I ain't going to complain about that. But Bill Simmons, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you listening to the show. And I owe you a visit on your podcast, man. So it's going to happen.
You're coming on this summer. We're doing it.
And we're doing it. Appreciate you, my brother.
Right.
Thank you, man.
All right.
One and only Bill Simmons, founder of The Ringer, has done 30 for 30 work, used to be on NBA Countdown, obviously did a lot of great writing, was a New York Times bestseller. He's done it all. He's absolutely great. I love the guy personally. He's really good people. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back to your calls to close out the show in a minute. By the way, need seats to a game? Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat.
The 2019 ESPYs.
Talk to us about Kawhi Leonard and his Southern California roots and how palpable that is in all of this for a second.
So Kawhi Leonard is from Southern California, but it's not like he's from Santa Monica, okay? He is from the Inland Empire, went to school out in Riverside. So that's about an hour and a half east of downtown Los Angeles. And it's a little like Paul George. Paul George was from Palmdale, which is like an hour and a half north and east. So these are suburbs of Los Angeles. And he doesn't live in Los Angeles. Anthony Davis lives out here in Westlake Village. That's like where Charlie Sheen lives. That's kind of his MO. It's not like he grew up, like Baron Davis here in the heart of the city or Russell Westbrook. So I think the LA of it all is more about his family. And everyone I knew from Kawhi's side, going into this, like if you're around him, he has a big family. He's close with a lot of people. That was the whole impetus for wanting to be in Los Angeles. He's a family guy. He wants to be around everybody. But again, a couple of things happened at the end of the season that I think threw a lot of people off and a lot of plans off, which is namely they won. Kawhi Leonard won. And, we don't know how that's going to affect him. What does he have to prove? I mean, the profile of Kawhi was he wanted his own team. He wants to compete against the best. He's more of that Giannis Antetokounmpo type, the Kobe Bryant profile, which is like you don't join the Super Friends teams. You go against them and you dethrone dynasties. But he's now done that twice.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on The Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
If you missed any of the show today, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. Okay, got to make sure we do that. Brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey, what's in your wallet? Gonna get on out of here for the day. About to head on out on vacation. God knows I need it, and I deserve it, damn it. But I want to say this before I go. My man, Dan Graca, the great Dan Graca, he's phenomenal as a radio host. He'll be filling in for me the rest of the week, and Will Kane will be on as well, so tune in. But I want to say this about Kawhi Leonard. And I was talking to my colleague. He'll remain nameless because I don't know if he gave me permission to mention his name. But he brought this to my attention about Kawhi. If Kawhi Leonard indeed ends up going to the Lakers, because that's what we're starting to hear more and more, even though he's in Toronto right now, so who knows what will happen. Who does that really benefit? If the Lakers end up winning 2 to 3 more titles, are we talking about how Kawhi's got 2 more titles, so he's got 4? Or are we talking about how LeBron has got 5? We all know who's going to be the beneficiary of more championships with the Lakers if Kawhi and Anthony Davis goes there. It would be LeBron James. So why help LeBron James? I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying it's a question that these superstars need to be asked. Superstars that have a ring. It's worth mentioning. Whereas if Kawhi went someplace else, it would be him competing against LeBron, not helping build the brand of LeBron. Just a thought. I'm on vacation. Peace and love, everybody.
Hey, what's up? It's Will